For almost 40 years, the D78 or D stock trains were the backbone of the London Underground's District Line, right up until their replacement by the newer S stock trains in 2017. Following their withdrawal, start-up rolling stock manufacturer Vivarail purchased 150 carriages of the D stock for conversion into diesel and battery multiple units, known as the Class 230. London Northwestern Railway ordered a strong fleet of 3 diesel Class 230s for the Marston Vale Line, a rural branch line linking Bedford on the Midland Main Line to Bletchley on the West Coast Main Line. So join me as we get this show on the rails and see what these units have to offer. Today's journey begins in Northamptonshire, towards the south of the East Midlands. I'm currently on board one of East Midlands Railway's Class 360 Desiro trains, which is taking me on to Bedford for my link to the West Coast Main Line, which is a bit more unique compared to most trains on the UK rail network. Come with me and we'll find out why. Bedford Station opened initially in 1859, under its current name. However, it was renamed several times, to Bedford Midland Road in 1924, Bedford Midland in 1978, and finally reverting back to its original name in 1988, which still remains to this day. The station was previously the northern limit of the Midland Main Line electrification, having been extended to Corby in 2020, with active plans to extend this across the full route. The station is served by 3 operators: EMR for services between London St Pancras and Corby, Thameslink for cross-London services to Brighton, and London Northwestern Railway, who will be travelling with today, for services along the Marston Vale Line between Bedford and Bletchley in Milton Keynes. L&R have operated these Class 230 diesel-electric multiple units on the Marston Vale since April 2019. Manufactured by Vivarail through a term they've dubbed upcycling, these were converted from former London Underground D-stock trains, which were replaced by the S-stock trains before the end of their useful lives. Other variants exist, including some powered by batteries and a third rail variant known as the Class 484, used on the Isle of Wight. All stations on the Marston Vale Line are part of the Marston Vale Community Rail Partnership, which aims to increase usage of the Marston Vale by getting local people involved with their local line. Before we depart, it's time for a quick walkthrough. Strangely enough for a tube train, it has 2+2 seating featuring tables, as well as a PRM specified toilet, which I'll be checking out later. Longitudinal metro-style seating is also present towards the end of the carriage. Oh, and yes, you can actually walk through this tube train without TfL's warning. Just press the button next to the handle, then open it and go through as normal. Don't forget to close it behind you though. Whilst there are 3 carriage variants of the D train, our variant and all of L&R's D trains are 2 carriages in length, meaning this should be it for the walkthrough. I'm now going to head back to the second carriage and take my seat. But before we head off, let's look at our route for today. You may notice Google Maps displaying this route as well as timings rather differently, owing to the Marston Vale's current operational situation, which I'll discuss as the video goes on. The Marston Vale follows part of the former Varsity Line route from Oxford to Cambridge, which will be reopened in the coming years as East West Rail. We have a total of 10 stops covering the counties of Bedfordshire and Buckinghamshire, before eventually arriving into our 11th and final stop of Bletchley at approximately 9:30 this morning. This means we have around 45 minutes of diesel tube train action, so let's get rolling. Almost immediately after leaving Bedford Station, we find ourselves approaching Bedford St John's, which is the smaller of two stations serving the town. Bedford St John's was rebuilt in 1984 as part of the Marston Vale Line extension to Bedford Midland. The original station was built in 1846, however. Right, as we continue to travel, I believe now's the time for a Know Your Seat. For the 2x2 seating arrangement, the seats are the Faenza ironing board seats, which, whilst are notoriously infamous for being rather uncomfortable, I found them to be suitable for a route such as the Marston Vale. Each seat contains a 3-pin UK plug socket, which you can operate with the switch to the right, as well as 2 USB sockets, which provides greater flexibility when charging your portable device. These trains did surprise me with the inclusion of tables, which are a nice addition and do look the part. Who would have thought a tube train would ever have a table on board? Whilst the Class 230s are fully air-conditioned, they do have 4 hopper windows on board in the event that the air conditioning fails, although these are rather fiddly to operate. The longitudinal metro-style seats are the exact same from when the trains were previously used on the District Line, meaning that not much has changed. They are still very much suited to the nature of the Marston Vale, and even feature USB sockets in between each seat, which just goes to show how much thought Vivarail have put in to making the trains fit for modern purpose. Approaching our second stop of Kempston Hardwick, it may appear as though we're located in the middle of nowhere. The reality is, the station is located on the edge of the town of Kempston, with the Hardwick name originating from the Hardwick Preceptory, an estate of the military order of the Knights Hospitaller from 1279 to 1489. I know what you're thinking. How do I know so much about the Marston Vale Line and its stations? Well, another cool feature on these trains is that L&R have included route maps containing unique facts and history about each station on the line. There's also further information regarding the conversion of the Class 230s by Vivarail from their past life as London Underground stock, as well as the unique upcycling method. A few stops later, and we arrive at Richmond. When alighting at this station, one thing you'll notice is the restored station building, which is now home to an award-winning heritage centre, complete with a Victorian booking office, and I must say, it really does bring the station to life. 2 stops later, we arrive at Woburn Sands, which was originally known as Hogsty End, until the village's name was changed, owing to the local schoolmaster wanting to attract new students. Also look out for the art from the local church youth group, which I really do think provides unique character to the station. The Marston Vale Line is a local route and is consequently not subject to the same speeds as intercity main lines, being restricted here at 60 miles an hour, which conveniently is the top speed of the train that we're travelling on right now. The final thing to check out on board is the toilet, and yes, let's just take a moment to appreciate the fact that this is a tube train with a toilet. Like, how cool is that? Right, door locked, and we can begin. It is very clean for a toilet, I must say, particularly one that is used regularly by commuters day in, day out. There's also a baby changing facility located just next to the toilet, and it is rather spacious. As for the sink, the soap dispenser is perfectly fine, the tap works relatively well, and finally, time for the dryer test. And that works perfectly fine too, and flows very much nicely. And consequently, that gives this toilet a big thumbs up. Right, time to head back to our seat and complete the journey on the Marston Vale Line. The last stop before Bletchley is Fenny Stratford, the name meaning a marshy ford on a Roman road. The village's claim to fame is the Fenny Poppers, which is the firing of 6 ceremonial cannons on the 11th of November every year since 1760. And now time for the most important part of the video. What do I think? I honestly have to say the Class 230s have been repurposed well for the Marston Vale Line. Their modern features and amazing ride quality are far superior to that of the Class 150 and 153 trains these replaced. As for riding them now, unfortunately this isn't possible owing to Vivarail's administration, meaning that London Northwestern Railway can't guarantee maintenance of the trains, and Marston Vale services are now a rail replacement bus until further notice, which is a shame given how much of a hidden gem the line is. Anyways, it's now time to alight the train here, and welcome to Bletchley. And that's a wrap. It really is a shame that you can't ride these units anymore for the time being, especially as they've only been in service for over 3 years. Well, less than that if you count their numerous withdrawals during COVID. Well, anyways guys, I really do hope you've enjoyed the video today, and thanks so much for coming along with me on this ride. If you did enjoy the video, please do give it a like as well as share it, as that really does help the channel to grow. If you're new to the channel and want to see more content such as this, why not consider subscribing as well as enabling notifications, as I'm now uploading new videos every Friday at 5 PM. Well, it's now time for me to catch my onward connection to Milton Keynes and then finally onto Manchester. So getting two 350-2s won't be so much of a pain considering it's only for like 1 5-minute stop. Well, and thanks so much for watching guys, and I'll see you next time.